Planning Board. Today is November 28th. We do have two public hearings. We're going to start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry? And can we keep standing and just have a moment of silence for our colleague, Michael Cafaro, who passed away just 2 weeks ago. He was a terrific board member and very conscientious, took his job seriously. As a member of this board and all that he did, we will miss him. May he rest in peace. The Planning Board, I want to read the statement into the record. The Planning Board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the Planning Board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in conjunction with the application are null and void. Our first public hearing. No, call the roll.
Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Frank Santos. Julianne Nolan. Jerry O'Neill. Dan Truchin.
Present.
Ed Wynn.
Present.
Rich Casey. Rich Groh.
Present.
Matt Esposito.
Present.
Juan Leon.
Present.
Katie Riley.
Thank you.
Okay. First item on the agenda.
Should I unmute it all? I'll mute it all.
No, unmute.
It's unmuted. Okay.
Public hearing, site plan review, bar restaurant, job number 22-37AF, GRI Sunset Plaza LLC. Proposes interior alterations to approximately 4,330 square feet of retail tenant space for a change of use to a 120-seat bar restaurant with Voodoo Crab along with associated site improvement.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Brian Weber, Weber Law Group, 290 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, for the applicant.
Okay. Please proceed.
Thank you. I have just one hand up.
Sure.
So I brought a group of people with me today. Just want to introduce you to who they are.
Hold on, Mr. Weber.
I'll hold.
There is a memo regarding
yep.
this application before you get into your presentation. I just wanted to be sure that you've had an opportunity to review it, to review the application, and do you have any concerns or issues regarding any of the parts of the memo, especially the conditions and the covenants and restrictions?
No, everything's acceptable.
Okay. Please proceed.
So this application concerns Sunset Plaza, a shopping center I'm sure you know well, the board knows well, which is on Deer Park Avenue in North Babylon. It's owned by an affiliate of First Washington Realty. Greg Zeik is here from Washington, D.C. He's the Senior Vice President dealing with matters of construction and development from First Washington. Also, I'm pleased to have Tony Lamb from Voodoo Crab, who's the owner and operator of the Voodoo Crab restaurants, who's here. And they're both available for if there are any questions. We have Mike Biancanello from Bowler Engineering, who's our civil engineer, who's available also for questions. I'll be making a brief statement, and then we'll ask Amanda La Rosa from Stonefield Engineering, who's one of the co-authors on the parking study, just to speak to the minor increase in the existing parking variance that we require for this application. As was stated in the announcement of the hearing, this is approximately a 4,330 square foot restaurant addition within the existing footprint of the shopping center. This takes up 3 currently vacant tenant spaces. As you're looking on the screen, you can see where it's highlighted where that will be. Those spaces have been vacant anywhere starting at basically the onset of the pandemic in 2020 and 2021. Voodoo Crab is and I've learned this, and I've just given you some pictures and to get your thoughts going, a copy of the menu as well. But Voodoo Crab is kind of a relatively new, within the past few years, popular restaurant type on Long Island. Newsday wrote an article in December 2019, how Cajun seafood became Long Island's hottest new restaurant trend. And basically, after the Vietnam War, Vietnam refugees came to this country through Louisiana and basically brought their own style to what is the Louisiana Cajun boil. And as Vietnamese migrated throughout our country, Texas, California, they brought this type of cooking with them. It's now making its way into the Northeast. It's becoming increasingly popular on Long Island. And while there are some new chains opening on Long Island, as I said, Mr. Lamb is the owner and operator of Voodoo Crab. It's not a chain. He has locations in Centereach, Massapequa, and now here opening, hopefully, in North Babylon. The relief that we need from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which we will go to for a parking variance, is a very small increase in the existing parking variance, which the town granted back in 2016 for the LA Fitness. We're seeking less than a 3% increase in the parking variance. The criteria for a bar restaurant really fit quite nicely with the proposed use here. I think it's going to be an enhancement to the overall shopping center. Shopping center has a good mix of tenants, small and large. First Washington, since acquiring the center, I think has done a very good job in managing the center. There have been no complaints. There are no violations. And they're a good steward of the property. Like I said, it's been known to the town for quite some time. I think Voodoo Crab will be an excellent addition to the roster of tenants here. And unless there are any questions, I'd ask Amanda just to speak to the parking variance. I know it's not a matter before this board, but since parking is one of the criteria in making sure that the parking lot is sufficient for this use, I'd ask Amanda just to make a few brief comments about the parking.
Just 1 second.
Sure.
Do the board members have any questions at this point in the presentation? No. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Amanda LaRosa with Stonefield Engineering, and for the record, my office is at 584 Broadway, Suite 310, New York, New York. My firm was hired as the traffic and parking consultant for this application. We submitted a study which was last revised October 25th.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
We submitted a study that was last revised in October of this year. It has been reviewed by the town's consultant, Cameron Engineering. The findings of that report indicate that the proposed retenanting would have a very minor increase in traffic, which would be imperceptible to motorists on the adjacent roadways. And then relating to the parking variance, we did complete a parking study. As Bram mentioned, there are a few vacancies in the center. Our parking study did account for these vacancies and ultimately concluded that the center provides more than adequate parking supply to support this request. Cameron Engineering's review letter indicated concurrence with our findings in their October 14th review letter. Additionally, this application has been reviewed by town planning staff, and their letter dated November 16th indicates that all departmental comments have been addressed. With that, I'd like to answer any questions that this board may have.
Questions? No. Oh, I have a question. It's a 120-seat bar restaurant. So what will be the number of people capable of attending a restaurant that size? How many people can you accommodate?
Is that more of a question for like the fire capacity or how the number of seats actually corresponds to how many people would be there?
I'm actually trying to understand how many seats or how many slots, parking slots, you're under.
Oh, how many were under?
Yeah, that you're under in terms of meeting the town's.
Sure. So the variance request is actually 47 total stalls. That's the difference between what's required for the 3 tenants that are there now and what they're requesting. And that's the difference between the parking variance that's already operating on the site and this. So it's a net increase of 47 stalls.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
that really concludes the presentation. Like I said, we have the representative of the ownership of the shopping center. We have the owner-operator of the restaurant. If there are any specific operational questions, all I can say was, I haven't done this for a restaurant, but I went online to look for reviews. The reviews are generally positive. If there were negative reviews, there were responses from staff trying to address those issues. It appears to be a very professionally run operation. The reviews say, if you love seafood, eat here as soon as you can. Every visit to Long Island, I insist. So hopefully this will be a nice addition to North Babylon.
Okay, I'm sure it will be.
I've gone there twice. Yeah. Your food is very, very good.
Where?
The one in Massapequa.
Excellent.
Okay. Have you written a review?
No.
He knew the application would be
I
coming
do
here.
believe my daughter has.
Okay, excellent.
All right, well, that's good news.
I like the menu.
So Bram, it's a 120-seat Red Bar restaurant, so you could accommodate, what is the fire code for that, for the restaurant, number of people?
So, it certainly can't accommodate more than that. It's 110 seats in the restaurant
Right.
and 10 for the bar.
Okay. Dan?
So I have a question. It might be for the property owner or the traffic study folks. So I know that the Starbucks there is no longer under renovation and going to be a drive-through only. So how does that affect the actual parking ratio for the property site itself?
Somebody can speak to that. It's actually interesting. I'm sorry. I'll just. I think Amanda can address it from a traffic circulation perspective. Certainly, those parking spaces are not being utilized at all now. So it is just drive-through only. As I was remarking before, when I was at the site yesterday doing my own observation, people are on the drive-through lane, but those spots, the parking spaces themselves aren't even being used because they've changed the model. But
Amanda?
Yep. So the town's code actually doesn't provide a separate parking requirement, and the renovations didn't change the size, so there's actually no change in the required calculation, but in actuality, the change in parking demand, there's almost no need to go in, so just a few employees. So while there is a change in the parking demand, the change in the parking requirement is nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't have the traffic study here, but what are the hours of operation?
I'll actually, go ahead. I'll look right now.
I have that information for you. So the restaurant serves lunch and dinner, and the lunch service is 12 to 3, and then the dinner service is from 5 to 10 or 5 to 11, depending on demand.
Any other questions? No? Julianne?
Yeah.
So you have 110 patrons seating capacity and 10 at the bar, and how many employees do you anticipate?
18 at maximum shift, and they're calculated into the parking demand.
And you don't know the fire capacity?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Frank?
The deliveries for the food, what are the hours? When is it?
Okay.
No, you have to come up.
Sure. I saw you.
We have to have your name and address for the record and swear you in.
Tony Lamb. I am a resident at 4 Crystal Court in Smithtown.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
To address the question about delivery, we don't have in-house delivery drivers. We rely on the third-party delivery services such as Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and such.
I think he was asking specifically about deliveries to the restaurant.
Correct.
Oh, to the restaurant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, they are all given predetermined windows where we will accept deliveries. We're not accepting them through all hours. Typically, the window that we allow is 11:30 to 2:30, which is a half hour before our lunch service and a half hour before our lunch service concludes. This way, we have enough time to process what's coming in.
Okay, so nothing after hours.
No, not at all. No.
And all deliveries at the center, each unit has a rear door for deliveries.
Any other questions? No? No other questions? Thank you. Does the shopping center owner want to speak? Your shopping center owner, he made a trip here.
Only if you have questions.
No, come on up. Come on up. How far did you travel?
I came in from Washington DC.
All right, well, welcome to Babylon Town Hall.
Thank you.
Just a question. You've invested a lot to improve that. I'm sorry, please state your name and
Sorry.
address for the record.
Yep, Greg Zeich, First Washington Realty, 7200 Wisconsin Avenue, Bethesda, Maryland, 20814.
And what is your title?
Senior Vice President of Construction Development.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. You've made a lot of improvements. Giuseppe's is one, of course, LA Fitness and others. How hard was it to lease this space?
Because they came vacant during kind of COVID, we kind of held on and wanted to combine these three to add a full-service restaurant. Our merchandising plan in this corner was to put a restaurant, so we used some timing to make that all happen.
And by combining those other units, you were able to create enough space for this?
Create a 4,000 square foot space as opposed to, it was a 2,000 and two 1,000s, I believe.
What other plans do you have for the shopping center?
At this point, we just want to continue to operate it. There is a vacancy, there's a couple vacancies between Uncle Giuseppe's and Petco that we're talking to tenants on now. But it's great. For example, Uncle Giuseppe's, I was just there tonight, is going to do all their holiday catering deliveries out of a second vacant space, and so we're working with that.
Okay, good. Any other questions? No, thank you.
Thank you,
for
sir.
the good job you're doing. All right. Is anyone from the public here who would like to address the board? No. Okay, hearing none. Matt? Okay, so you want us to close the record now? Okay, so we need a motion to close the record. Motion by Frank, second by Dan. Second. All in favor? The record is closed, and we'll bring it back for a resolution at our next meeting. Okay, thank you very much.
The food is delicious. And
Stay well.
price reasonable. I wouldn't invite.
Yeah, let's go to the next public hearing.
Okay. Item 2 on the agenda, public hearing, minor subdivision, job number 22-09B, Dingle Bay Enterprises, proposes to subdivide a parcel of land, total of 32,688 square feet, into two 16,344 square foot lots in order to construct two single-family dwellings.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Tara Visconti, Bazell Blanda Visconti, 535 Broad Hollow Road, Suite B4, Melville, New York,
Okay, do you-
11747.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, we are here tonight. I'm here on behalf of Dingle Bay Enterprises in connection with the
Okay,
two lots
Hold on for a second, I forgot to read this into the record again. Oh, the memo, the different memo. Have you had the opportunity to review the memo that was released on November 18th from our Commissioner, Rachel Scelfo, regarding this application?
Yes, I have.
Does your client have any issues, any concerns, anything you'd like to bring to the board's attention?
No, we accept all the conditions.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. So we're here on behalf of Dingle Bay Enterprises in connection with the two-lot subdivision. It's an oversized parcel on the north side of Spring Street. It's actually, it's a vacant parcel, and it's the largest parcel on this block, so it's a distinctive property. The lot area is 32,688 square feet. It's 0.75 acres in a Residence B zone. We received ZBA approvals on September 24th of 2021. The only variance that we needed in that ZBA approval was for frontage on each lot. We were granted a 10% variance for 72 feet of frontage where only 80 feet is required. We meet or exceed all other zoning requirements on this property. And the applicant is proposing to develop with two homes on each, one home on each lot. Each home will have 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and it will have a 50-foot-long driveway with a 2-car garage. So we meet the parking. There will be no parking issues based on that schematic. The home is not, the lots are not sewered, so we will be providing septic, as I believe is shown on the survey that was presented. I did say it was the largest parcel on the block. The home style was chosen to fit the parcels, so there won't, and they're also, I believe you want that, if we could see the plans, the houses are mirrored, and they also will have the different siding and facade the way the covenants read. It's really not that much. It's not that big of it's pretty cut and dried here. If you have any other questions, I can add more.
All right, thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions?
I have a question and a comment, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Visconti, we are aware that these are the oversized parcels, that are being developed. Just wanted to point out, I don't know if the chairman touched on it, that both lots contain covenants, covenant and restriction that these are to be single-family, owner-occupied dwellings with no accessory apartments. You're aware of that, and
Absolutely.
you've reviewed the conditions?
Yes, I've reviewed them, and absolutely, my client understands that and is completely acceptable to that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jerry.
Is that me?
You can shout, but I won't hear you over that.
Matt, is this in the Southwest Sewer District? It's not. It's not, okay. Oh, really? Okay. Not far. Pardon me? Up a straight, off a straight path. Oh, north of Nichols, okay, I didn't realize that. All right, any other questions? Can we go back to the lot plan? Okay, sorry. Can we go back to the lot plan, to how it's going to be laid out on the lot, please? Okay, so and you say the other one's going to mirror this in what way? Just is it going to lot 2? Okay, I see what we're doing. All right, there we go. All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board at this time? I see some reindeer back there, just in case somebody was out in the corner there. All right, there is no one here to address the board regarding this application. Matthew, where are we in terms of the reviews? Okay, to December 12th. Okay, let's see. Motion by Ed.
Motion to extend.
Second by Jerry. All in favor? Aye. Approved. And one abstention. So the record has been extended to, what was the date again, Matt?
December 12th.
December 12th. Okay, thank you very much. I noticed. There you go. Yeah, they mentioned that, yeah. That's good to hear. Good. It's a treat. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Want to just tell them the public portion of the meeting's over, so they can shut up.
Okay, the public portion of our meeting is now over. Matt, we're going to go into our work session, is that correct?